Fake Safety Podcast with Vance and Bart.
It's a trap, and there's no comfort fitting in a fake safety that no one believes in.
Ghost guns.
Orange Man.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
Boo.
So, have you printed any ghost guns lately?
A lot. I'm not that good at it yet.
Do you happen to have any Grey Poupon?
Wayne's World. Did a joke on that. Bringing back the Wayne's World joke. Again. That's 2 episodes in a row with Wayne's World references. Man.
We should just change the theme of our podcast to be a Wayne's World podcast.
Right. Maybe we should.
Because do you ever get tired of talking about how bad the state is and instead want to just talk about how good Wayne's World is?
I wish that I wanted to do that more often. Me and my wife would get along more, I think.
Because she likes Wayne's World?
She does. A lot. Big fan. Big fan.
Was she in Wayne's World?
No. Yes. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
So, not Grey Poupon, but Orange Poupon.
Yeah. Now that Fauci and all the news media has basically said, we're right, but is trying to pretend like still somehow we're not with the COVID bullshit. I'd like to bring up something that I think we're right about too, and that's Mr. Orange Man, Mr. Donald J. Trump. J, is that right? Is that his middle initial?
DJT.
Okay. I didn't know that until people hated him enough to say his middle initial.
Well, he has a restaurant called DJT.
Oh, really? Where's that at? Right next to CBGB's The Deli?
I believe DJT is in Las Vegas. I think it's at one of his hotel properties.
Oh, I got you. So, connection between DJT and not Mr. Don't want to disrespect the man. Dr. Fauci. If you think back that long, long time ago, it seems like such a long time ago with the news cycles and whatnot. Dr. Fauci never publicly attacked Donald Trump while Donald Trump was the president of the United States. And I don't know if anybody else has made any connections to this, but I have a pretty good idea of what's going on, I think, with government. And there's Donald J. Trump is presented this. You gotta understand, these guys, whether he is an idiot or not, they assume he's an idiot. All the establishment. Like, it's hey, look, we already have this technology to create this vaccine for this COVID thing that's coming over. We're going to produce it. We just need the emergency, approval. And the good thing is you can get in on it. We got this little jump in, you make some money, pay off the man, right? So he's like, yeah, fuck yeah. So he does it. Then he gets somebody else, one of the other doctors is like, hey, hydrochloroquine is like helping people and they're getting better if they take it. And so goes, oh, well, try taking this. A lot of doctors are saying it's better. Dr. Fauci knows that you can't do that because if there's a treatment that's working, you can't get the emergency approval to develop the vaccine. It goes away. So, of course, he has to, without publicly smearing Donald Trump, he has to send out all his minions throughout social media and mainstream media to, you know, he's killing people. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and blah blah blah. And then obviously they talked to him, said you can't do that till the vaccine is, or we can't get the vaccine out, and people are going to die if we don't get the vaccine. That's just a treatment. So Donald Trump's probably like, oh, okay, well, and I'm gonna make money, so. Or maybe he is nefarious, like he is a piece of shit, like they. But I don't think he is, just because he's not part of the crew. Not that he's not a piece of shit. I just don't think he's a piece of shit in this way, to the extent that Dr. Fauci is and some of the other players. So obviously Donald Trump's not really cool on the mandate thing. He doesn't want to go that route, right? He's saying let's leave it up to the states. Keep saying that kind of shit. He's like, I'll take my cut. I'll get your emergency approval, whatever. But he's not. Well, the elections are coming up. Biden's like, and Fauci already have a relationship. Biden's like, I'm down. And Biden's really connected in this whole make money on being in government thing. Like, he's done it very well his whole life. There's a whole book on it. Maybe we'll put that in the show notes. But anyway, he's like, I'll lock down the place and mandate everybody has to get it, and make sure that the numbers fluctuate to the way that we would need them to go to terrorize people. Donald J. Trump, he's like, oh, I'm not part of the damn in crowd. He's like, I'm not doing that shit, So they make a pact with Biden. Biden probably also said, hey, I'm going to drop off some duffel bags to make sure I win. And Fauci's like, thanks, or I'll help you drop off some of those bags. So anyway, Fauci doesn't ever say anything bad about Trump till Trump's out, right? And then it's, free game if he says anything. But really, he's not focused on that much. It's more about making sure everybody's scared, and making sure they can sell as many of these vaccines, whether they work, not, or kill people or whatever. It doesn't really matter. We just got to manipulate the numbers so that people get the max amount we can get out of them. If we got to make COVID more deadly by throwing people on ventilators and giving them remdesivir that killed them, whatever, let's do that shit. I mean, that way we can get this going. Which I would, to all the right-wing people who listen, you can find out whether Herman Cain was put on remdesivir, because at the time that he died, that was being prescribed and the whole shit was happening. That'd be cool. But I'm pretty sure that they're sealed. But it'd be nice to know if it, he was, because I know a lot of the right are upset about the whole Herminator going. So, to everybody on the right who's all about Donald Trump going in for another election, trying to make him president again, I'm not telling you that, like, there's another Republican out there that is better than him. I'm just telling you right now, the man sold you out. On that, maybe not as bad as other people would have done. And he sold all those people on Jan 6th out. The fact that he didn't do something, say something, whatever. I mean, think about this. Like, Donald Trump is creating a social media platform, right? How easy would it be for them to be like, look, if you're good with this, if we can push this vaccine through, politics aside, you got investor. I mean, who's investing in this? I know some shady ass motherfuckers are, and some good people are too. But I've seen some names on some of the investors in that I don't really like that. So, I mean, I just don't see why anybody would push for Donald Trump. Not after Jan 6. I mean, because that's the real tragedy. He had no evidence. He didn't put anything out to acquire the evidence. No one, he obviously had the feeling it was going to happen, but they didn't collect any evidence. He didn't, and none of his lawsuits were about like shit that we knew happened. It was all like random recount type shit. Like if you're going to recount a fake vote, it doesn't really matter. It was dumb. And who cares about a fucking election? I don't even care about that shit. But like, I do believe that it was stolen from him. I think he won probably, but if he didn't win, it was really fucking close. Like it definitely was manipulated into a certain direction. But who gives a fuck, right? I'm just saying that he left everybody out to dry. All these people believed in him, and then they go in, fart on Nancy Pelosi's desk, and then they're just held in solitary confinement in a jail that wasn't even open. They opened it back up just for these people, and it was awful what they've done to these people. They should be speaking up about that. But no, he's denouncing their so-called violence.
I think he's actually a really good example of why someone doesn't actually have to be an active part of a conspiracy for it to be active and for them to be an accomplice. I don't think he's all that diabolical. I think I'm inclined to believe he didn't do all of this planning, but he was in the right place at the right time, which means that he was the guy, and he was the guy who was paid to move out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all these folks in the early days of Project Warp Speed, right? Because I think we quickly forgot that Donald Trump was actually the one who fast-tracked all of these vaccines, and everyone was like, well, I'm not getting a Trump vaccine. Well, all of you have gotten a Trump vaccine now. So,
yeah. And Fauci was the one directing that entire operation.
And, I think Trump has said that he got the same ones. But I think your point is well taken that he almost messed it up for them. I think he almost foiled the plan because he was so out of the loop, right? That's the thing that is so funny to me is everyone has all of these big, convoluted, complex conspiracy theories, whereas if you go with Occam's razor, the simplest solution is that they said, hey, can you just fast track all of these things and we'll give you a big pile of money? And he was like, yeah, that sounds good. Hey, turns out hydrochloroquine actually works to help sick people. Okay, well, I've already got my money for a vaccine, so I'm going to tell people about this. And they're like, no, you don't understand. You idiot.
Right.
And you'll notice that he didn't fight that.
Right.
Right? Like, this is the guy who knows how to market, the guy who knows how to run a campaign, the guy who has so many different slogans and catchphrases. That's not a guy who lets things go. Right? But once he was told by his people, hey, your check goes away if this hydrochloroquine thing goes together, he's like, oh, snap. Because
they made him look like a fool, and he doesn't roll over for that in any other circumstances. Like he fights back. But he just shut up about that, right?
Right, and I think he was essentially doing the quiet part loud because I believe he went to a doctor and got like the whole kitchen sink of things, which is why, much like W, he's not the most articulate of people, even though what he was saying did actually make sense because he wasn't talking about bleach. He
Right.
wasn't talking about, injecting people with bleach or like the sunlight or UV or whatever it was that it kind of got
Right.
blown out of proportion to be. He was actually talking about just a full gamut of drugs that I would guess his doctor probably put him on to treat COVID when he had it
Yeah.
and got him well, in a couple of days. In addition to the drugs I'm sure he's on just normally to keep him peppy. But, the guy wasn't big on teleprompters and was just sort of chattering on about what he had taken. It just so happens that was in direct conflict with the people who had promised him a big check. But it doesn't make sense why almost overnight he would decide that wasn't the hill he wanted to die on.
Yeah. I think it was just like, hey, man, if people find out about this, we can't keep it down. Like, even if it comes out after the vaccine, like, that's fine. But we got to get the vaccine out and approved and fast tracked before we can let that be known to people. And he was like, oh, yeah, I got it. All right. Y'all just make me look stupid like you do on the news, and I just won't fight this one. Okay.
Which is ironic because it actually means that he's a very shrewd businessman for doing that.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, Biden's like, I'll kill people to make sure it happens. And Fauci's like, oh, I like your enthusiasm. So, like, basically is the way he is. He's like, I'll drag people out of their homes. I'll stab mentally disabled people with it who don't want it. And then flaunt it like it's some sort of great thing.
Well, that's the difference, right? Is that Trump was absolutely in it for himself and maybe his legacy, right? Making sure that he has a big pile of money for his family, bringing them all in. So he's self-serving, but Joe goes beyond that. He's part of the establishment. He's about growing
power. It's all about power. I think Trump was in it more for popularity than he was in it for power. He liked the popularity and the money. Because Joe Biden would be fine with all of us hating him if he just had the power to snuff us out with his thumb anytime he wanted to. But that's not what Trump wanted. Trump wants people like enthusiastically screaming his name. Those are two different things.
and to be fabulously wealthy.
Right. What Trump wants leads him to do evil things. But what Biden wants is to do evil things.
Right. And that's the long way of saying what you said before about Trump is like he sold you out. So there are the guys who are actively doing evil things, and then there's the guy who gets paid to look the other way while people do evil things. It's not that much different.
It's not. I think conclusion to this hypothetical story, we don't have, I couldn't prove that in a court of law, but we've been pretty fucking right. I'm just going to say, just running off of gut feelings on shit. We've been pretty fucking right. So I wouldn't be surprised if mainstream news a year or two from now is like, yeah, we've been trying to tell you all this, you know, just like they do. Um, Listeners may have noticed that some of the mainstream media is saying words that they weren't allowed to say, and we love to say. You know, the words that make sure you can't hear us on YouTube. So, ivermectin, for one. That's
Whoa, 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 whoa.
uh,
Just because the White House said it on YouTube today doesn't
Yeah.
mean you can say it.
does it not? Well, horse paste, otherwise known as ivermectin, has become mainstream news talk about, you know, the fact that it is, you know, it's something that we should research on its effectiveness in treating COVID-19 and other uh, COVID type corona style viruses. So the good news is there's been a lot of research on that already, and the fact that it works on coronaviruses. So we've got a good starting off point.
Oh, but that research isn't state sponsored.
Oh, well, I'm sure some of it was the old stuff, the stuff they had to delete off of. They can put it back up.
You're talking about what they did in order for ivermectin to reach its place in the world, having been delivered in over 1 billion doses to people.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So there was just a study that was released not today, it was maybe a couple days ago. But the cool thing about it is, you know how we were saying back when Trump first said it, if you take this stuff early with the high doses of zinc, you can Trump didn't articulate all these things, but like the doctors I was hearing that were saying these things, you got to take a high dose of zinc, because what that does is it basically is the catalyst for the zinc to actually get into your cells. Apparently, zinc's very hard for your body to absorb, but the hydrochloroquine, it's like a vehicle for it to get in there. So, and that's the way it helps. So they were saying if you take it early with the zinc, you can probably help yourself. But once you're in advanced stages, it doesn't do anything. That's what I was hearing. But now there's even studies that say anytime in the illness, it looks like it's very beneficial to take this. They just putting that out there now, you know, you know, hey, by the way, check this out. And I haven't heard, have you heard any of these canceled people getting apologies or anything yet?
If you're talking about us and like maybe our YouTube videos being reinstated, no.
Yeah.
No apology has come from them.
I'm sure it's coming soon.
It's on its way.
I'm sure. You know, you can't say these two words. You can't say it's effective on COVID-19. But I did hear about COVID-20 that's coming out. That you have
COVID-22?
You inject peanut oil into children's veins to get rid of that. It's going to be mandated. Peanut allergies don't exist anymore once that happens.
Peanut allergies are actually just COVID-22.
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to be the first one to mandate that one, I hear. Y'all haven't heard
You mean the peanut vaccine?
the peanut vaccine, yeah. And then the bee sting vaccine for some other people. No negative side effects have been reported. Safe and effective.
What's interesting about injecting bleach now that I'm thinking about it,
Right.
is if you inject bleach
Yeah.
into your veins, you will not get or spread COVID, guaranteed.
Which is a real definition of a vaccine.
Like it isn't actually an immunization, but it will prevent those things from happening.
It's a lot closer to an immunization than what we currently have out there. I'm not suggesting we do it, but
Right. Yeah. Let's just do the disclaimer now, which we probably should have done in the beginning, but this is not medical advice, and you should definitely not inject bleach.
or peanut oil.
Okay. Yeah. Now that I've thought about it, peanut oil should also not be injected.
The bee sting one, though, if you're not allergic to bees, there has been medical research on the benefits of some bee stings.
Same with snake venom, right? I think there are groups of explorers and folks who do a bunch of work in more remote areas where they will try and build up a tolerance to various different stings and different venoms.
There's got to be a benefit to that.
What's the same as an immunization, right? Like the idea that
Yeah.
you give your body a small amount of it so it can learn it,
Right.
fight it off.
Then you become one of those. What are those animals that get bitten by poisonous snakes and just they kill them and then go to sleep? Honey badger. Like they can get bitten by a cobra, a king cobra, and they'll kill it, and then the effect of the venom, they have to go to sleep. So they'll just sleep, and then when they wake up, they'll eat it.
You just sort of wake up to a snack.
Yeah. It's kind of badass, to be honest. I love watching those videos of those things. They'll fight anything. They don't care.
And see, now that makes me want to think about what's in honey badger blood.
No shit. I bet it fucks up COVID-19. I mean, because most of our immune systems fuck up COVID-19. Because COVID-19, without any of the treatments or vaccines or anything, wasn't really a pandemic level thing. It fucking sucked. It was sad what happened, but like most of the deaths and shit were because of the wrong medicine, remdesivir, who, it killed everybody without COVID. So they were like, oh, but it probably will help people with COVID. And let's put them on a respirator that we know is awful for them. And then when they died, they were like, COVID did that, right? It wasn't us. They're like, nah. It was the COVID. Okay. Good, because I'm doing that to the 6 guys, the same treatment right down the hall. I'd hate to think we were doing something wrong.
So here's the piece that I'm having trouble with connecting the dots.
Okay.
If they're starting to open up to ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, other treatments that are not the vaccine, is that damage control so they can slowly get to a place where they say that they weren't saying that the whole time?
Yes.
Or, okay.
And I think it's because of this simple fact is even though we have been silenced, we're not truly silenced because the silencers are having to pick up all that noise and collect it so it doesn't go out into the world. Those people are the people connected to the power. And we're not shutting up. I can tell. Because the noise that's getting through is still getting, like, there's still shit getting through. And it's really fucking loud. So they're like, oh shit. So they're going to elect Republicans and Like, well, that would be fine we thought they were going to elect like Mitt Romney, but they've realized like they've pushed us to this limit where we're not going to elect a Mitt Romney if we even believe in electing anybody anymore. Anyway, like there's so many places that are becoming more open to the idea of, you know, fuck electing somebody. Like you're not allowed here anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's becoming a true thought. So the powerful, the people who were thinking that they were going to collect power from this, they're like, oh shit, damage control. We need to say these things, pretend to be, you know, unbiased, collect the narrative, collect the dissent, focus it where we need it to focus, and then put up one of our approved people as a mild renegade against the COVID regime to become the Republican voice as opposed to somebody who's not part of the establishment who could come in. Because like Donald Trump got elected. That's what's so scary to them is Donald Trump doesn't care or know how to stop the tyrannical government that we have. He didn't care about it. He didn't care to stop it. He didn't know how to stop it. He wouldn't know what to put in there if he did. So it just wasn't his thing.
No,
Now,
he just wanted to be the boss, right?
right. But what they're scared of is Ron Paul. Somebody like that. You know, not Ron Paul himself, but like, what if that made them think, oh shit, Ron Paul could have won. And he would have exposed, maybe he couldn't have shut down the state, but he would have, Ron Paul was the kind of guy who would have been like, oh, this is happening. You know, like, here's all the information. I got some of it. You know what I mean?
I don't think a Ron Paul would get in.
Yeah, Ron Paul would be shot.
If those ideas were his publicly during the campaign.
Right.
And honestly, there are many schools of thought on this, but I think a lot of folks thought that Trump wouldn't get in either.
Yeah.
Every person I talked to said that he had a 1% chance of winning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they're scared that a Ron Paul's going to win. Or somebody similar. Somebody willing to expose the bullshit, right? Because Trump won. And they also know that they can't just drop duffel bags all the time because people are going to be like, this is totally bullshit. The whole, you know what I mean? They're already like that.
Well, they've set a precedent now, right?
Yeah.
They've made the most popular president in history, and now they would have to keep that up. That means that the next election is going to have some similar kind of numbers unless...
Yeah, the mostest popular president. Double mostest. It'll be Hillary Clinton. There'll be like more people have voted for Hillary Clinton than anybody else ever. Oh, that would be funny.
I think the only way that they could get away with that not being the case is if there's some event or something making the votes look like an anomaly where they're incredibly low and they can just kind of start over.
Yeah. I would go to Hillary Clinton's inauguration if I had the money.
What do you think your dollar will be worth by the time she's inaugurated?
her inauguration. That's about all you can buy with it.
You like clear out your life savings and
I'll tell you one thing. I fuck with the company that employs me once a month. My last Bitcoin request to be paid in it was responded to in a not generic response. Yeah.
do tell.
Yeah. So it was we see no pathway at this time to make this request a reality. We are looking into alternative alternative means of payment, upon your like it wasn't just in the first time I did it too, it wasn't a generic response. And the second time it wasn't generic. But I've done it every single month I've worked for this company. I've requested to be paid in Bitcoin once a month through email to the HR and the accounting agents. So, and I do that to every company I work for just because I think it's cool to continue to do it, because the more it becomes a normal request, like right now it's like, psycho. But like if I continue to do it and then other people start doing it, eventually it's going to become a normal request, and then maybe we can just do it. It doesn't hurt me to write a fucking email annoying somebody to get paid in Bitcoin anyway. It actually makes me happy. So even if it doesn't do anything except for make me happy, whatever.
Do you copy and paste this email?
Oh, yeah, for the most part. I mean, I put a little twist here and there on it. But yeah.
One of those like, if you're reading this, I'll buy you a Coke.
Yeah, or
Drop it
like
in
I'll
there.
just put like or something that's happening at that time, about Bitcoin or something like that in it sometimes. Oh, please pay me now. It's on a, I buy the dip, man. You know what I mean? It's a dip. I want to get paid now.
So you're not only requesting payment in cryptocurrency, you're
Like, hurry up.
informing them about crypto news.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you saw that it dipped below 40, but you need to pay me right now.
Right. It's fun. I think more people should do it. Obviously, when you work for a big company in the Southeast, they're not going to do it. Not right now, but the more people that do it, ask eventually, especially if you can become friends with these guys, and then they're like, oh shit, like that guy's cool as shit, but he wants to be paid in Bitcoin. I wonder if maybe he has a real reason. He's not like some sort of weird nerd or something. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you drive a big diesel truck and you ride four-wheelers, but you still like Bitcoin? Tell me about this Bitcoin thing.
Well, it's just like horse paste, right? Tell me
Right.
about this horse paste.
Right.
Are you telling me it might treat COVID 2022?
It will, yeah. Along with the peanut oil.
How do you feel knowing that cryptocurrency allows the pharmaceutical companies to pay Trump even more discreetly to turn a blind eye to their ways?
Jealous, I guess.
Because you'd rather be president and turning a blind eye to the pharmaceutical companies?
No, I would. Well, yeah, I guess so. Because if it was cryptocurrency, once I got paid, if they were dumb enough to let it be paid, transaction complete, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, not only are you gonna pay me in Bitcoin, but I'm gonna fuck you right afterwards.
But you would have to really quickly take down the entire establishment because they, as a power,
Yeah.
are so much bigger than whatever you would be if you're
Absolutely. And and also I would know that I'm going to get assassinated because I'm going to go for it all out because that. Have you met me? So, yeah, they're going to kill me. So I have a family, right? And I need to have a currency that they can't take. You know, watch videos about guys going to prison and keeping their wealth because they had it in Bitcoin. So when they get out, they're okay, right? So I get assassinated because I'm going all out at them because I am who I am. I'm Vance, right? And my family has money they can't get. I mean, if I would have got that payment in dollars, they could have took it. Yeah. I mean, I'm for Bitcoin for anything. I don't care what it's used for. I don't care if it's selling drugs. I don't care even if it's hiring a murderer. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the currency. It's you can pay a murderer to murder somebody in dollars. People do it all the fucking time. All the time. So you do it in Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what it's used for. It's not Bitcoin's fault. But what I can tell you is a government controlled currency is controlled by a murderer. It's a murderer designing what that dollar's worth. And a thief. A murderer and a thief. Stealing your time away from your family doing work productive for society to steal from society and you. And kill people with the money they stole from you. And they might come to kill you if you speak up about it. Or if you say ivermectin on a YouTube video. Or if you tell people that Google's got a fucking government contract with the military. Or if you tell people about Amazon and they're fucking keeping the CIA records and shit on their servers. Or if you tell them about Facebook developing software for drone strikes using Oculus technology. But if I have a big payout in Bitcoin, when they kill me for doing that, and that's after they get through all my fucking ghost guns, at least my family's got a bunch of fucking money.
So what you're saying is guns don't kill people, dollars kill people.
It's a trap. There's no comfort fitting in a fake safety.